Hello everybody, I'm Ard, and welcome to another episode of Minecraft Enigmatica 2 Expert. This week, I figured now that I can fly like an actual proper mage, it might be time to get back into Thaumcraft and become a wizard, because I actually want to get into astral sorcery, but first steps first, we need to go backwards in the quest book and get caught up on the things we haven't done. Now, I'm not going to lie, Thaumcraft is honestly not one of my favorite things, especially not in this pack. It's a lot of work, and it can screw things up, as I described previously in the beginning episode for it. If you get too much flux in your area, things go bad. This is why I have my setup in a compact machine. So let's go over there and discuss what we're going to work on today. So here we are, back in our extremely rudimentary Thaumcraft lab, safely quarantined in a box for when I inevitably blow it up with flux. So one of the things I've been doing is scanning everything in my base with the thermometer, this thing right here, and that allowed me to clear out some of the next quests in the Thaumium, okay? One thing I should note is there's something you want to be doing pretty early on and constantly throughout the game. Every time it becomes nightfall, you generally want to go try to scan the moon if you remember to do it, because what you need to do is get research from this for all of the phases of the moon. And you need paper and scribing materials in your inventory to do this. And what you get out of it are these celestial notes. And these first four are from the 4 different directions, which those you'll get the first time you do this, as long as you go in a circle and click a bunch of times. But the other one is this celestial notes lunar waning crescent. This is one of the phases of the moon. You need all of them eventually. So you probably want to stay on top of that, otherwise you're eventually going to get blocked by this. As I said, if we come into the Thaumium, however, this started to unblock me on something. So let's start by discovering Auromancy, which I've gotten the highest peaks and the lowest depths recently. I went up high and went up low. So we can get complete on that. And if we actually read through this, this tells you what it wants you to make. And it wants you to make a Viz Resonator and a Caster's Gauntlet, which kind of, if memory serves, these act sort of kind of like the wands used to do in the older versions of the Thaumcraft, and that's kind of what these notes say. To make the Viz Resonator, we just need an iron plate, a nether quartz, and 2 crystals. And to make the Caster's Gauntlet, well, not much more complicated, except we need to make another thermometer, and we need more crystals. As a reminder, to make anything in Thaumcraft, for the most part, you use the arcane workbench. So let's start by making the thermometer. Just as a reminder, you just do it like this. You put all the items in, the crystals light up, and you receive your item. And now we've finished the Caster's Gauntlet, which, coming back in Thaumium, we can now hit complete on this and move to the next step. And now this explains the limitations on what we just did in a very kind of vague sort of way. But that finishes at that step and moves us one step closer to this one. Now we can actually move into the Infusion step, which we actually got these 2 types while doing all the scanning, and now we can hit complete. And this unlocks equipment that we can make now, including enchanted fabric. Finishing these 2 steps opened up the Auromancy tab and the Arcane Infusion tab, so now we can make more things. Moving back to the original tab, to move into the Artifice tab, we have to do alchemical metallurgy, which comes from the alchemy tab, and we have to make alchemic brass. Alchemic brass ingots are actually pretty easy to make. They're just iron mixed with instrumentum, which is a compound type of mana, but we can actually pull it from most basic tools. So I should note that as of the recording of this, I don't actually know of a good guide for Thaumcraft 6 anymore. There used to be a really good one online, so trying to remember what different manas you can get out of different materials is kind of a pain, and you need to memorize it, unfortunately. The other way you can do it is you can look it up in JEI and find it this way, and go to the second tab right here, and this will show you all of the items that it can come from. It can be a pain to scroll through the list because the list is very, very long in a lot of these cases, because it's a lot of items. And today we're going to be using the aluminum shears, because they grant 12 of it and only 1 extra potentiate on top of it. You do need to worry about excess going out, because that's what creates flux. So as a reminder, you just come over here, you grab your bucket, some water. Remember that you still have water in here because you did this before. You throw the item in that you want to do that with. And then you throw in the iron, and that creates brass. And if we repeat this a few times, we've now created 6 brass. Another thing of note is that you can create quartz slivers from nether quartz, and they will help empty out your crucible. of any excess manas that are left in it. This is getting a little cart before the horse, but this will help you stop creating flux. As you can see, I now have Potentia Viz and Instrumentum Viz, just the leftovers here. We can use them for something else later. If we look in the actual quest log, you can see that there's a quest for it right here, but it doesn't tell you what it does, nor have we actually unlocked a mention of it inside the Thauminomicon. This can save you some grief just by knowing about it at least. Going back inside the Thauminomicon, you can see that we've now completed this, which opens up the next step, which is to create Thaumium. And Thaumium is just iron with Precantatio and Terra. Before we move into Thaumium, however, we're going to take a quick side trip over into the Arcane Infusion tree, and we're going to move up to the basic infusion step, up into the Arcane Paving Stone. And making the Arcane Paving Stone is pretty easy. The Paving Stone is just a standard Arcane workbench pattern that is just 4 of these, 50 Viz, and 2 crystals. And the reason we're doing this is because it creates Terra and Precanto, which is exactly what we need. And all we need to make it is 5 of each of those blocks and an iron ingot. And then we just come back over to the crucible, put water back in it, and throw in 5 of these. And iron. And Thaumium. So going back into the alchemy section and going back into alchemical metallurgy, we can see that this is now done. Now what we're lacking is theory alchemy, which means I need to go do some research. So I wasn't recording through the whole research, but I just wanted to stop here mid-research on the alchemy that I was doing, because I've got an interesting set that kind of shows why you want to be able to do the nether slivers. Because this one requires that I have a Lux Viz crystal. That's a compound one that's created by light, and I just created them by tossing a torch in there and was able to extract these out to create it. But I figured this was actually worth showing it to you. But I also got lucky on the first draw and it gave me alchemy, so I should be done with this pretty quickly here. Well, I finished the research and I did the exact same thing I warned about right at the beginning of the original Thaumcraft episode. See the missing slot on my hotbar? I threw my compact machine controller in there. Yep, created a whole bunch of flux by doing it too. So be careful when you start chucking things into the crucible, folks. Thankfully, this is why I created an extra one and have it sitting right on the wall right over here. Anyhow, now that we have this step done, we can hit complete. And that clears out alchemical metallurgy, which opens up discovering Artifice. And here we already have the starting ones for this, so we can just hit complete. And now we can create the goggles of revealing, which are basically a thermometer you can wear on your head. It requires 2 alchemical brass, 2 thermometers, and some leather. And goggles of revealing made. So the trick here is these don't actually allow you to scan things. That's not what they're for. It's actually a basic Thaumcraft tool that lets you see quantities of mana and things and whatnot, and gives a Viz discount. The fun part is these can be combined with other armors from other different mods, like the armor sets from Botania or with dark steel armor. It's pretty neat that way. Now that we've done that, just to get that done, we can go back to the main page and we can see that we also have unlocked Golemancy, which we can come in here and see that we need to study an animated construct. Whoa, 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 whoa. I just discovered something. The Thaumcraft 6 guide that I thought was gone is apparently back on the internet again. So I'm going to link that in the description because this is super useful, specifically for this mod pack. I found it while I was looking up stuff on how to unlock the Golemancy stuff, because the studying animated constructs part's a bit weird. But you can create your own golems, either an iron golem or a snowman, to do it, as well as other stuff. Well, at least being in a tundra biome, we had plenty of snow. Turns out, however, I never actually planted pumpkins anywhere, so I had to go take care of that real fast. Snow, snow, pumpkin. And then we study that. And now we have Golemancy unlocked, which opens up its own tree. Now the main point of Golemancy is for actual automation. This allows you to make constructs that do stuff for you. But we were just doing this for the purposes of getting it open right now. Now looking back in the actual Thaumcraft chapter of our quest book, you can see that we've opened up, and one of the things we should probably do is Alumentum. And Alumentum is just in the basic alchemy chapter, and we can move to the next step of it because we already have the fundamentals research for it done. It's a source of heat and light, as well as it can be used to power things. So after we progress to that, we can now make the Alumentum, and as this notes, it's 3 times stronger than coal as a fuel. And to do it, we just toss a chunk of coal in with some ignis, some perdido, and some potentia. Alright, so we're not just going to be making the Alumentum, however, with this. We are going to also be making magic tallow. Assuming the recipes I'm looking at actually work, because who knows, they may not. But it calls for 4 coal, 2 gunpowder. It says 1 charcoal, but the other one before it says 4, so we're going to find this out the hard way. And that makes the Alumentum, and then you toss rotten flesh in on the remainder of it to get the magic tallow. And the magic tallow is required on the other side of the alchemy chapter, down here. And it just requires ignis and rotten flesh. So hopefully this consumes it all. Throw the water in. Wait for this to heat up. Throw the 4 coal in. You can see how much essence is now in this. Throw the 2 gunpowder in. And now throw a charcoal in. Yep, it looks like this is the full 4. 3, 4, and then now we can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Looks like I should have brought 20 rotten flesh because there's 4 left over. Now you notice how this is now, the crucible is empty. We can take more water, but there's still essences, so this will cause flux. Put the water in, and yeah, you can see the flux rising out, and now we're losing some. We need to get this out of here fast. And just throw the quartz slivers in. And now coming into here, we have this step of hedge alchemy done. And the next step is recipes for other basic items, as well as candles. Now the Alumentum chapter, however, is done, and that opened up the essentia smelting chapter, which this is where things get a little more interesting. And now we need to go destroy the other crystals and pull them back out with splinters. Oh, and looking at this, I realized I didn't do something way back. Right at the beginning of the alchemy chapter, it does tell you about quartz shards. It just doesn't explicitly show you the recipe for it. So make sure you read your Thaumium, folks. And it turns out just holding one of each of these crystals in your inventory is good enough to finish this chapter. So we'll do that. And now it wants one of each of the next tier. Thankfully, I've already made a handful of these. But I'm going to put the rest of this off until later. And I think it's time to call it here, folks. So let's open up the quest book and get our rewards for today. And it looks like there's 11 of them. Fire mills, well, we already know what we're doing with those. I guess we can go add those to the compact machine they're all in. Book and quill, that's pretty worthless. More reactor casings, so I guess they might want to make even more reactors. Flux infused shield, food we've eaten. Another atomic reconstructor, which, maybe there'll be use for that, an extra one. More reinforcements, which I used up all the other ones I had, so. An observer, might have use for that eventually. Flamethrower, which we've got somewhere. Redstone glass, which, interesting. And a purple crystal shulker box again. So nothing all that too exciting today. Anyhow, we at least made some more basic progress through Thaumcraft though today and got started along the path so we can move forward with this and then into astral sorcery. So as always, I'm Ard. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.